Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this little demo on how to paint still life with these little peppers. I thought they were like baby bell peppers or something, but I'm not sure. They're like baby bell peppers. But anyways, I thought they were pretty cute, so I thought, and they're colorful, and it's a subject we don't paint a lot, so it's good to do things you don't do very often because it causes you to see things differently and grow in your paintings that you want to do really well at in subjects that you really love. Having sometimes doing something like this that's a little off the beaten path kind of gets your brain to see things differently. So to start off with, I'm using this canvas paper from Michaels. This is this Artist Loft canvas paper. So if you're new to painting and you want something that you don't have to have put a lot of pressure on yourself if you use this canvas paper. So I always recommend this for people, especially if you're just sort of, starting back on painting again, and it's just something you want to do to relax. You want to put less pressure on yourself. So I'm just doing this little wash of ultramarine blue and some transparent brown oxide. I've got my colors sort of labeled here so that you can see what I'm doing. And then I'm just going to wipe off that layer. And then you kind of have a neutral, background for everything to go on. And then I'm going to just sort of use some of this red oxide, and I'll just sort of draw out where the peppers are going to go. So I've got this number 4 brush, and I'm just sort of looking at my reference photo I've got in front of me on my iPad. And I'm just sort of going to doodle here for a bit just to make sure I can fit everything in on this canvas paper. And definitely want enough room for the little stem to go on and everything. And so I just sort of want to sketch this out. That way, I know it's gonna fit on this. And this is just a quick sketch, this is like a little practice sketch for you so that you can get better at painting different subjects like this too. These are just almost like a warm-up, So once you get something on there and everything's kind of going to fit, then you can sort of move on with your colors. So I'm going to I'll start by blocking in this pepper up front here. I'm using this cad yellow light, and I'll mix some of this quinacridone red in there to get that nice deep orangey color. And I want to make sure I get that nice kind of warm orange near the bottom there, because as you go up, the color's going to get lighter and cooler. So I'm going to start off with, maybe I'll add some red oxide into that. And then I'm going to go and get more yellow and just sort of mix in a little bit of that red, so whatever's on my brush, because I want to get that yellow in there. So this is just some cad yellow light, and then kind of I had some of that quinacridone in my brush sort of And I'm just going to block that in and get some more. Little dab of orange in there. We'll get the right kind of color for up here. And a bit of a shadow kind of here. And then I'm going to block in the red. So I'm going to use a little alizarin first to get that dark in the shadow there. And then I'll add some bright red to that after. So I'm trying to keep this as simple as I can. And I'm looking at those shapes I see back here. I see these sort of rounded shapes from the edges. So I'm kind of marking some of those in there. And like that. Get a little more light here. There. Sorry about that. Just had to get a little bit more light in my studio. And the next thing I'm going to do before I work on the details is I want to get in, when you're working on a still life, you want to get in some of the shadows. So I'm going to get some cobalt blue and I'm going to mix it into, I have that little pile of color there, cobalt blue, white, and you can use some red oxide, and that makes kind of a warm gray. And I'm going to put that shadow in there right off the bat. You can kind of shape the bottom there. Put a little of that stem shadow in there, here and there. And then you'll notice I can kind of blend some of that red from that one into that shadow, and I can blend a little bit of that orange into that gray shadow. So I'm getting that reflected light effect going right there. Okay, so now I'm going to just switch to a little smaller brush, and I'm going to put in the green for those peppers. So I'm going to get some sap green just because it's a little transparent and it's dark. I'm looking at my reference photo, and I'm just going to block in. Whoops, I grabbed some Viridian by accident. Just either one is fine because it's kind of a bluey green, so you could use a little Viridian in your sap. And I'm trying to fit that little guy in there, and then I've got this one which you see more of in this pepper's facing our way more, so I'm just putting that in like that. You can use some of that darker green down here in the shadow. And I'm going to wipe my brush off and just go get that green again and put that in there. Okay, so now we've got sort of the basics all blocked in like that. Now we can add some of the details, like I want to get some of this bright cad red and get some of that kind of brighter red in there. So I'll put that sort of where the light's hitting the back of that pepper and some of the edges here. Just add a little bit of that red to there. A little bit of these edges kind of catch a bit of that light too. And then you can get a little bit of white and mix it in with that cad red. Add a little bit of orange to warm your highlight up, and you can kind of put in some of those lighter, there's some highlights on the edge. So I'm just trying to keep this simple as I can, Then I wipe my brush off and just kind of go and blend a little bit of those marks like that. Then you can go get white again and get your bright highlight on here. Whoops, too much paint. Just get a little bit of that bright, shiny highlight, which is going to be that kind of white. Just on those edges there. Like that, and along the edge here. And I don't want to do too much with that because it can get overly, done. You can start to add too much detail there. Then I'm going to add a little sap to my yellow mixture and just add some of that bright green here and there to show the details of the inside of where that little green stem is. And again, I'm trying to keep it simple. Just add a little bit of that. Keep making it a little too bright. There. There, just sort of a little brighter green in there. And then you can get a little white in that green, sap green, and I added a little bit of cad yellow light to it to lighten it up. And you can add a little white in there and just get that all kind of along some of the stem to brighten it up. There. Now we're going to do the same for the yellow pepper, bell pepper, whatever it is. I don't really eat these things. I just bought them to photo. And I'm going to get some of this cad yellow light and white. And I'm going to put that bright highlight on this one right here. And I've got quite a bit of paint, so I have to kind of go back and add that. And then there's another highlight here. Like that. And again, I can add that same light green just kind of along the top there to show that it's getting that light. Might even add a little more of that light green to this one here just to really show that off. And then I think I'll get some of this this transparent oxide red, and I just want to really go back over and put some of that, because it's so nice and transparent. I'm just going to use that color straight, no mixture, just red oxide, and I'm going to go and just kind of put some of that back in there to really warm up that shadow. And I took this photo myself, so it's not one of my favorites, but I thought it'll do the job for this little demo. And then you can go and get some white and put that little bit of tablecloth in there. So I'm just going to get some white and I'm going to warm it up with a little dab of yellow ochre so it's not just stark white. And I want to just kind of put in some of that tablecloth just so you see the contrast of what we got here with the shadow and everything. And this should give you, a good practice for when you go to do a larger still life. And you can see I just set this stuff up in my kitchen. And, the reference photo it isn't the greatest. But you can go back and get your shadow color if you want and put some kind of an in-between layer if you wanted to soften those edges. Just kind of dust that in there. But, it gives you an idea of just how much better a painting can look than your reference photo. So, I might just leave the background the way it is because I kind of like that. But you could paint it that turquoise color. Might be fun for a kitchen. And I think we'll see what it looks like with the tape off now. I really think this is a fun painting you could do and put in your kitchen, on the fridge or something, or wherever you want. And so there you have it, 2 little miniature bell peppers. And I hope you enjoy this little lesson and try out your own still life. So as you can see, all I had was I put some paper towel down and these little peppers, and I threw a tea towel in the background to block out what was there. I thought I might use that color in the background, but I kind of like this look. To make this more like a real classic look, you could paint the background with a real dark background like black, and then this would look like one of those real still life paintings that you see out there. But anyhow, I hope you enjoy this little lesson and it helps you along your painting journey, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And thanks for watching.